So we're continuing to download this Venus 175 chronograph movement, and now I'm just removing the ratchet wheel. Now the crown wheel is held on with the crown wheel core, which is held in by 2 screws. Notice that the minute recording wheel jumper spring is covering the crown wheel and the crown wheel core. I don't really like removing this spring because it can mean more setup when reassembling. So be very, 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 very careful when removing the crown wheel so as not to damage the spring. So now the fourth wheel and the escape wheel held in place with this cock, and so I'm just going to remove that. So I'm going to remove the barrel bridge, which also secures the center wheel and the third wheel. And this is held in by 3 screws. As you can see, I'm gently prising the barrel bridge slowly but surely. Just yanking this up, you're likely to possibly bend it, so it's best to just work at it to lift it out. So now we have the center wheel, the third wheel, we have the escape wheel, and now we have the fourth wheel, and notice that it's covered by a little recess in the bottom plate. So just turn the wheel until the 2 spokes are central to the recess lip here, and then you can slowly edge it out. And the reason for this is because there's a bottom pivot, and you don't want to break that bottom pivot. The bottom pivot is extended, and it can break quite easily, or you could even bend the wheel, so just make sure you take that out carefully. So now we're on to the keyless work, and so we have the set and lever spring. I like to reduce tension on the spring before undoing the screws if possible. Sometimes the screws can ping off across the room. So removing the set and lever spring. I have the minute wheel. And we've got two intermediate wheels here. Sometimes called setting wheels. And the yoke, sometimes called a return bar. First remove the spring. Now I can remove the yoke. Now we're going to remove the set-in lever, and to do that we're going to loosen the set-in lever screw, which is obviously on the other side. So be careful, because the set-in lever will likely just fall onto the bench. So in this case the set and lever screw is actually wedged quite tightly into the lower plate here. In actual fact, I had to, I didn't record it, but I did have to gently tap that out in the staking set because it got jammed in there quite tightly. So I managed to use a smoothing broach to slightly widen the hole, and that helped it. So now the set and lever is no longer holding in the stem. You can just slide the stem out. And there we have the sliding pinion and the clutch wheel. So now to disassemble the barrel, remove the mainspring. I use a pair of brass tweezers to help prevent damage, and just snap the lid off. Now we've exposed the mainspring and the barrel arbor. First we're going to remove the barrel arbor. Notice the hook there at the front. So if you just push down on the mainspring on the opposite side to that hook, it easily comes out. Also notice I've used brass tweezers to manipulate the mainspring there. So now I've removed the mainspring by just winding it out with my hands. And checking the hook on the mainspring, make sure it's not damaged. This looks absolutely fine. If there's any cracks or bends or kinks in this mainspring, then I'd simply just replace it. Just run down the whole length of the mainspring just to make sure there's no fatigue or wear. So before cleaning the watch, I'm just going to tighten up these dial screws that we unscrewed earlier, because sometimes they can unscrew in the watch cleaner machine and possibly get lost. And when I'm cleaning my watches, I like to do it with the balance in placed back on the lower plate. And once the watch has been cleaned, then I'll usually manually clean the upper and lower Inca block settings, although some people like to take them out and clean them in the machine whilst they're disassembled. Sources for courses, it matters not really as long as they do get cleaned. For me personally, I find it safer with them left in. So now with all the parts in the basket, I'm ready to put this through the machine, and once it's cleaned we can go ahead and reassemble this watch and lubricate it. So now I've run this through the cleaning machine and now set out all the parts on the bench, nice and clean now. Ready for reassembly. So thanks for watching, and in part 3 we're going to start putting this Venus 175 back together. See you next time.